Have you ever wondered why your boyfriend or husband always shuts down when you're trying to have a conversation with him? Or for men, is your wife or girlfriend always trying to start an argument with you? Well, today I might be able to help you out with that. If you're interested, click the link above and stay tuned for today's topic. What's up? What's up? What's up, people? Relationship Wednesday. Let's go. I'm ready. And I got some really potent stuff for you guys today that's going to probably change your marriage, your relationship, boyfriend, girlfriendness, or whatever you guys are in right now. And it's huge. It's huge. Hey, and communication is huge. You know, God gave us communication skills, gave us a voice, gave us a tongue, gave us a mouth to actually communicate and build empires and to build relationships. It's one of our many gifts that He's given us as far as being human beings and being able to change our ways of living and enhance it. I'll give you guys a second to come in. Hey, Coffee with Court. Today is going to be huge. If you women want to know why men do what we do when it comes to communication, and if you women want to know men want to know why women do what they do, if men want to know why women communicate the way they communicate, and vice versa, I got it for you today. This is an Easter egg. You need to go ahead and share this right now because this can change a lot of people's lives. Morning. Good morning, Brianna. I'm serious. Like, I'm not joking. This is one of the most jam-packed sessions I think I've ever given. I know everybody's got to bounce, got to get in and out. So today I'm following up the session I did yesterday, which was about one of my Instagram followers who is having some issues with his wife. It resulted in her attempting to throw a boiling pot of water on him. And, the first thing I thought of was communication. Anytime something turns violent or turns, it goes away from communication, it's because you're not properly communicating with each other. And when a couple can't communicate with each other, you'll end up with those type of results. You'll end up with their emotions will boil over to the point where it'll start to get physical. This is why a lot of physical abuse happens and why a lot of verbal abuse happens, because it's just an unhealthy form of communication. It is communication. It's communicating in a threatening and dangerous way. But I have a lot better way to communicate with women and vice versa. So the very first thing a man needs to realize is when you're going into any type of communication with your spouse or women in general, you should always have the mindset of drama-free. You should be thinking right away, like, I'm going to go into this with the least amount of drama. Because like Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about, he talked about people go around all day long looking for a reason to be offended. But if you go into communication, if you go into conversations with your woman and you're thinking that, I'm not going to get offended by this and I'm just going to sit here and simply listen, because that's what men have to do. Men have to learn how to listen and not try to solve issues. But that's later on. That's later on in this topic, this discussion. Men need to realize that you go into a conversation drama-free. And that's just the way women operate from an emotional standpoint. When they're communicating with men, we often get defensive because we feel as if we're getting attacked. But that's not the case. If you're going back to the book that I always recommend to people, it's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Men, we think logically. We operate from a mindset of logical thinking. Like, what logically, I want to solve this problem. I want to understand you, but I want to also solve it. And if we can't solve it, if we feel as if it's something that we're doing personally, and we get defensive, which is one of four horsemen of the apocalypse, you can't get defensive I'm gonna bounce all. I'm gonna give you all of my tips of the trade here. If you're thinking, from a defensive standpoint, when your woman's coming to you and trying to talk to you about an issue, or maybe she's just talking about something that went on at work today, and you want to get. And men, we need to realize that we need to just learn how to listen and not get defensive, because that's an unhealthy communication skill. But going back to men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men, we're logical. Women operate from more of an emotional standpoint. And that's how they communicate with their girlfriends. That's why you will hear a lot of, when they're talking to each other, they may bounce around from topic to topic, subject to subject. And how they feel 5 minutes ago may not be how they feel, 5 minutes in the future. So men need to realize that they're not there to try to cause drama or purposely try to get something going and get you riled up and get you defensive and get you offended. It's just how they communicate. And we need to learn how to just simply listen to them. Now, women, on the other hand, you need to understand men. Men, we need time to process things. We need we need time to see what's going on, whatever issue is going on. If it's between you two, if you're asking him to try to solve a problem, you need to give him time to try to figure it out. But what women do is they get upset because men don't. We can't, quick-wittedly solve an issue or give you some kind of answer that you want. So women get upset, and what it looks like to women is that it's one of the other four horsemen of the apocalypse. To women, when men shut down, it looks like we're stonewalling. And that drives women nuts. But it's not that. It takes men a while to process things. Like, we need to go into literally in the book it says, we need to go into our man cave. Allow us to go into our man cave. And it might take a couple hours, might take a couple weeks, but eventually we'll figure out the problem, and it'll be one of the greatest solutions you've ever come up with. You just have to give the men the time to figure it out. Morning, Kyla. So recapping, how to effectively communicate with your spouse. I'm going back to a topic that, yesterday a guy messaged me about his woman getting to the point where they were arguing or something. She ended up throwing a pot of boiling water at him. And, right away I thought it's just communication issues. And, women are emotional. Women make a lot of decisions, and they operate from an emotional standpoint. And men need to realize that, they're going to sway around like the wind. So men needs to just take a step back, not try to solve their issues, not get defensive about what the woman's talking about or ladies are talking about, because that's just the way they operate. Men, we're more logical. We'll think of something and we're like, that doesn't make any sense. And when you try to change a woman into believing what you think, and believing who you are, think the way that you think, and to be more of a logical thinker, that's when you're going to end up with a lot of arguments. I mean, you can't do that. It's just not the way they're wired. They're not built to do that. So you end up, if you do, you'll end up with a woman who's in her more of in her masculine essence, and it's just going to mess up the polarity of the sexual polarity that one of my mentors talks about. Is you need to have somebody that's in their feminine essence and one in their masculine essence. And that's why, simply, like, if you want to look at it the most logical way, as a man, I always try to think logically. Think of, like, relationships that are, gay relationships, like two gay men and two lesbian women. You'll have one that's in their masculine essence, and you're going to have one that's in their feminine essence, because that's just the way sexual polarity works, and that's the way communication works. So you'll have one that's thinking more logically, and you'll have the other one thinking more emotionally. And it's just how it goes. That's just the way that we're built. That's the way we're set up. So going back to, I got some notes here. So men, we need to learn how to just listen. When somebody's talking, when your woman's talking to you, and it could be about you. It could be about, hey, we need to make more money. Like, you're not bringing enough income, and yada yada yada. Men, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get defensive. We may even argue, but it doesn't make any sense to argue, because it's just, you're not gonna win. Like, it doesn't make any sense to even try to argue it, because you're not gonna win when you're arguing with the woman in particular. And why would you want to win? If that's the thing. Like, when you win in arguments, you may win the battle, but the war you lose, because first off, when you're in a healthy relationship, it's not about winning and losing. It should be more about functioning and dysfunctional. So make sure you may win a battle once, but when it comes to the war, you're going to end up losing her because she doesn't want somebody that's going to sit her and try to prove her wrong all the time. She just wants somebody that's going to listen to her and understand her. And that's what men need to learn how to do. And I see it all the time on Facebook, about women that's dramatic, and that's just who women are. Like they fluctuate like the wind. Like they'll shift one direction. Look at a woman and just how many times they'll change up their style throughout the month or throughout the year. They sway. They make decisions based on their emotions. They'll change their hair color. They'll change the way that they change their nails and their lipstick. That's just how it is, and you can't get upset about it. And why would you want to get upset about that? I think it's beautiful how women can easily shift their emotion, because men, what we do is we'll get into we'll have these sweatpants that we'd have for 3, 4, 5, 17 years, and we don't need to switch it up because we're just, logically it makes sense. Logically, we shouldn't go out and buy any more pants. But women, they're different. Like they want to make those decisions, and that's just how they are. And it's, like I said, it's beautiful. That's the sexual polarity. Men do things this way, women do things that way. That's the whole reason why he made the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And okay, I'm going off here. I'm on fire today. I'm really passionate about this because I kind of cracked the code on how to communicate with women, and at the end of the day, I realized that there's no point in arguing. What I do is I step back, ask them, "Do you want my opinion?" Because a lot of times they don't. They just want you to listen to them. They want to be heard. They want to be understood, because that's what their girlfriends do. And if anything, their girlfriends give them a little poking and prodding to tell them that you're right. The way you think is valid. And that's what you should be doing as men. You should be validating your woman's feelings, because at that moment in time, that's exactly how they feel. And they're 100% committed to that feeling. You need to realize that, hours later, they may not be feeling the same way. And they'll come back and they'll even apologize. And they'll say, "You know what? I'm sorry for what happened. And I'm sorry about getting emotional. I'm sorry for..." It's like, there's no need to apologize. I understand. I completely get it. That's just the way women operate. Whew. What do you guys got to say? I've seen a couple of people in here. Hey, if you're just coming in, I'm giving you guys some of the best relationship advice I could ever give anybody, which is men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So, back on my soapbox. So what women need to realize is that when men make decisions, when we're in the midst of an argument, it's really hard for us to be witty and to come back with some kind of reply. And we shouldn't. When we make quick decisions that we're not completely dedicated to or committed to make, we end up making the wrong decision. So women we're not stonewalling you. If we're taking a while to respond, if we're not giving you the reply that you want to hear, it's because we're processing these things. We go into our man cave mentally, and we like to stew on issues and topics before we make the decision or before we give any type of input, because that's just how we are. Like, you say something, and trust me, it's processing and we're thinking about it, and it may look like we're stonewalling you and like we're not communicating properly with you, but we actually are. What you're saying is actually valid to us, and we're trying to figure it out, which is why when you try to, if you're thinking like, you try to back a dog into a corner, you want to get that leash on him, he's going to lash out at you. He's either going to continue to run from you or he's going to lash out at you. But if you allow him to understand that this is, leashes are good, walking is good, they'll make the decision on their own to come over and get the leash. So that's what men need to realize, that when women are when they're arguing with you or they're going at you, you need to realize that this is just the way they operate. They're emotional. They want things done right now because in that moment, in that very moment, that's exactly what they want. And give it a few minutes, give it a few hours. Later on, they may not want that. Maybe they'll realize that, yeah, that was completely impulsive and you should have never Why they even try to take you for a walk right now? You know, it's raining outside. There's no reason for us to even go for a walk. But men need to understand it. And what a lot of men do, you know, which is one of my Instagram followers, what ended up happening to him is he almost got a pot of boiling water thrown at him because evidently he wasn't communicating with her appropriately, and it ended up leading to physical violence, which a lot of it will. You know, when you can't communicate, we communicate with this, or it's fight or flight, and we communicate in unhealthy ways. So that's it. That's all I got for you. Relationship Wednesday. If you're interested in booking a session with me, hit up my website or inbox me. Website Fruitful Seeds, SEEDZ with the Z at the end. And you know, if this information was valuable to you, if you feel like somebody could benefit from it, you know, forward it on to them. Comment and share. Get this conversation going. And if I'm off base, let me know I'm off base. But I know I'm not off base because I've done a lot of research. So, happy Wednesday, hump day. Hey, if you're just coming in, go back. Go back. You want to hear this. If you want to change your relationship with your wife, your girlfriend, your daughters, your co-workers, do it. Go back. Check it out. I love y'all.